What's up, everybody? It's Dan again with the Underground Railroad. I wanted to talk a little bit today about a guy named Adam Smith in the church. This occurred to me in my prayer time, and I want to share it. For anyone who doesn't know, Adam Smith was an economist. He was a macroeconomist, you could say. He looked at regional and nations and economics on a scale like that. A lot of American economic policy and thought is derived from him. He had a lot of his ideas, and he was well known, and he wrote a lot of that down in a book called The Wealth of Nations. And it's from 1776. And I don't know if anyone knows this, or maybe you don't, maybe you do, but the colonies, the early American colonies, had a financial problem that was, I guess they didn't foresee it coming, although I don't know, maybe Adam Smith could have seen it, I guess, if they'd have listened to him. But they had paper currency, and their currency got debased and wasn't really worth anything. In fact, not too long during all that with the colonies, uh, it came to be kind of like a joke, that something's not worth a continental, which was the currency that they had. They called them continentals. And the different colonies had their own little money that they had. And it was printed specifically for that area and for that colony. And but they printed too many of them, okay? So that the market was flooded with continentals, and nobody would really receive them or accept them anymore in trade. They wanted hard money, gold and silver, in order to transact business. But in the field of money, there is a concept called representative money. Now, if I have a pound of gold, okay, and I get a piece of paper, okay, and we call currency paper money, which is really kind of a fabric, really, okay. But if I get a piece of paper and I write 1 pound of gold on it, and I give it to you, well, if someone would accept that as payment, then that paper would be worth 1 pound of gold. Almost like writing a check or something. You could take that uh, and go and exchange that paper for the pound of gold that I was supposed to pay you. Okay. So instead of paying you the pound of gold, maybe I didn't have it on me or whatever, I could give you this piece of paper or this promissory note or check or bill of exchange or uh, an instrument, you might say, that you would accept for payment. Well, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. That's one note for 1 pound, 1 pound to 1 pound. That paper currency represents 1 pound of gold in this example. Well, if I just go to, man, I just, you know what, I'm gonna write a whole bunch of bad checks. I'm gonna pay everybody a pound of gold, and I'm just gonna, fast as I can, crank them out and print them. I'll pass them out to everybody I see. A pound of gold for everybody. Okay. Well, the gold ain't there. It's just a rubber check, really. But of course, that's illegal, obviously, and wrong. But it can happen gradually over time by mistake, and such that there's too much paper currency circulating around, uh, circulating capital, as Adam Smith refers to it, compared to the amount of real money like gold or silver that's actually present. And so the currency does not have the same value. It's not 1 to 1 anymore. It's 1 to whatever is really there, or multiples of, what it used to be to buy the same thing. And it's not because the gold or silver is worth any less. It's because the currency or the instrument is worth less. So it takes more of the currency, if they would accept it and believe it, to buy the same thing. People also refer to this as inflation. They say, well, they can inflate the currency by printing more of it. And people, they accuse the Federal Reserve of doing that now in the United States. But in essence, if a central bank does that, they're just creating worthless currency. The more they continue down that road, and the more they print currency that has no backing whatsoever, the more they're essentially writing rubber checks to everybody. And that works, but it only works as long as the people will accept them as payment. Okay, it's like a belief. Okay, they believe that it's real. And it's like a faith that they have in it. They have faith in the currency. Okay. Well, it's really no longer representative money at that point. It's it's like counterfeiting. It's a counterfeit. If it's a dollar, it's no longer a gold dollar. It's essentially a counterfeit dollar. It's a fake dollar. Now, Adam Smith, he wrote of this in The Wealth of Nations. You can read this. He was concerned that in an economic system, and in our case with the United States, that there was a danger of the banks extending too much credit to the merchants. That the merchants wanted to expand their operation and grow, and establish new locations, and gain more geographical territory, you could say. And so, generally speaking, they would want as much credit and as much currency as the banks would print them. And so there was a danger in the desire for the merchants to expand their operation and the banks to extend that credit to them, that they would have a bunch of essentially counterfeit money floating around, and the system itself would at some point become exposed to be the fraud that it is, and collapse. And it was unsustainable to do that. Well, in Christianity, a way of looking at a disciple of Christ, or a follower of Christ, or a Christian in the true sense of the word, you can see that a person like that is supposed to be a representative of God and a representative of Jesus. And you can look at examples and you can say, well, this pastor was bad, or this priest molested children, or any number of different things like that, and to say that this man was not a man of God. He's an imposter. He's a fraud. He's not who he has represented himself to be. But if you and I, if we're a true representative of Jesus, and we are ambassadors in a sense for his kingdom, then we should represent what he is as close as we can get as a 1-to-1 ratio, that we're the same. This is our model and this is our standard. And I think a true Christian at times would probably exemplify that. Now, we all sin, and it's not possible to maintain that as you travel through life. But at certain points, it's possible for you to be blameless. I believe that. I do. But I think that in the desire to have more members, okay, or to expand their operations, okay, these organizations, these religious organizations, and by that I mean denominations, you can fill in the blank for whoever you think that is, to expand their operation and claim more members, or take over geographical territory, or whatever, have more numbers on their books. They have endeavored to have more members or more people in their club, okay, so that they can masquerade as Christians when they're not. But the goal is not really to be Christ-like for a lot of them. It's just to expand their operation. And they can give them pieces of paper telling them that they're a member, or that they have been baptized, or whatever. But many of these people are in no way followers of Christ. They don't represent his kingdom. They don't live in such a way that they're above repute. They don't. What did they join? They joined a club. They joined a fraternity. Some of them even have fraternities for you to join. But that's all that they have really done. And so when you go to church and you look at these people, it's a fact. It's just a fact that many are called, but few are chosen. They call to these folks, but how many of them are true followers of Jesus? How many of them are even open to the work of the Holy Spirit to change their life? Not their behavior. Their behavior is a different thing entirely. Their behavior may not look good, at least on the outside, for a period of time. It may take a while before they appear good, even though on the inside they already are. But a lot of these people in these churches, they're counterfeit. They are rubber checks. Now, the organization may have expanded their operation, or taken over more territory. And some of these denominations crank them out by the droves. They'll try to do them in batches or something, okay? They'll try to process 20 or 30 or 50 of them at a time around Easter, and make them go through a process that they approve of so that they can be a member, okay? Or they may say, well, uh, we're at First Methodist, or we're at First Baptist. That's because they were the First Baptist or the First Methodist church in that area. That's why it's called that. But these people are counterfeit, and I don't mean that they don't have value in and of themselves, because of course they do. And Jesus has died for all men, all people, and all people are eligible for salvation. But that is not salvation. That's not. That is not having the Holy Spirit's work recognizable in your life because you followed their program, whatever that is. That's not God. That's their organization. And I know that there are genuine people in those organizations and in those denominations. And I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush and say that they're all hypocrites or anything like that. But I think that, like Adam Smith described these merchants, they have been overzealous in the expansion of their empires and have uh, made a bunch of counterfeits that appear real, and they seem like dollars, but they're not. They look like Christians. Maybe they say they're a Christian. Maybe they wear the clothes that people think Christians wear, but they're not. They're not. Uh, they may have even been coerced or forced or cajoled or manipulated into being a part of that organization. And if so, and if they were seeking conversion and a relationship with God, they have not found it. They have been initiated into a club or an organization. Well, I thought on all this in my prayer time this morning, and I thought, well, how would you know if the money was counterfeit? How would you know if the check was rubber? How would you know if these people were genuine or not? And I remembered the words of Jesus. He said, he was talking to the disciples, and he said, "This is how they'll know that you're my disciples, and this is that you love one another." And this caused me to think about the people that I see every Sunday in church. Maybe the people that you see every Sunday in church. And if you use that as the standard, that I will know them because they love me, because we have a common love in Jesus Christ, and our pursuit of holiness and righteousness. Is this what we have in common? Do I feel that they love me? And I don't know their hearts, and there's no way for me to know that. But just looking at their treatment of me and their behavior and body language towards me, it doesn't look like it to me at all. They don't. They don't love me. In fact, a lot of these churches, they have a standoffish approach, and they don't really talk to one another very much, almost not at all. They don't want to get to know you for fear that you might uh, uncover the fraud that they are, or maybe have a real need and ask them for something. So, it's a selfish thing and an isolated thing. If they are a Christian, they're hiding their light under a bushel, which we know is wrong. But I don't think most of them, they don't even know him. They don't. They're they've got a habit. They've got a habit, but it's not one that oftentimes is leading them to God. It's not. And for anyone who hopes that they're going to find that on Sunday, you might. You might. It's possible. God uses men and other people, even children sometimes, to let you know something. He can reveal things to you and have revelation knowledge that he just opens your eyes to something that maybe you never noticed before. So it's possible you could be at church and hear something like that. It might be from the one in charge, it might not. But if you're waiting all week for that, then what you've been doing all week. Christianity is a daily walk. It's a daily walk. You got to maintain as much as you can that 1-to-1 ratio so that you're not a walking rubber check or a counterfeit. You can't do that unless you know what the standard is and you allow him to mold you and shape you. Can the clay ask the potter, what are you making? Let him mold you. Let him shape you. Let him adjust you and shape you. Let him work. Let him work. Be willing and don't pretend. If you're pretending, get out. Or if you're following a set order of a program just because that's the way we've always done it. And we're proud that we never change or grow. That's a backwater from mosquitoes. It's daily. It's daily. Tell him what's on your heart. Tell him the things that are bothering you. Ask him to make you what he wants you to be and stop trying to be your own man or make your own decisions so much. Work to live a life that's pleasing to him and a representative that can be presented to others and be accepted as the real thing. I'll see y'all next time.